Welcome to The Explainer. You know, sometimes a single football match becomes so much more than just a game. It's a story that transcends sports. And today, we're diving into one of the most powerful examples of that ever, an impossible victory set against a backdrop of national tragedy. Okay, so let's get right into it. You're going to hear the word fairy tale a lot when people talk about this story. And for good reason, because it really wasn't just about what happened on the pitch. This was a team coming from a country in crisis. A team that didn't even have much official support, carrying the absolute weight of a nation on their shoulders. And this really is the core question we're exploring today, isn't it? How did this one team, in this one game, manage to lift the spirits of an entire country that was facing just unimaginable devastation? It's a story of unbelievable resilience against what really felt like impossible odds. All right, so to really understand the gravity of this final, we've got to rewind a little. We need to go back to March of 2011, just 4 months before the World Cup final, to an event that changed absolutely everything for Japan. Just months before this massive tournament, Japan was hit by the Tohoku earthquake and tsunami. I mean, this was a catastrophe on an immense scale. It caused just unbelievable destruction and a sense of loss that was felt across the entire nation. And the human cost, it's just staggering to think about. More than 15,000 people lost their lives. The country was in a state of crisis, of deep mourning. It was so dire, in fact, that the Japanese team seriously considered pulling out of the World Cup altogether. Okay, so on one side, you have a team carrying the weight of a national tragedy. And on the other side, well, you have the undisputed giants of women's football. The United States came into this tournament as the #1 ranked team in the entire world. They weren't just the favorites, they were the overwhelming, no one outstands a chance favorites to win it all. And they were chasing history. A win here would mean a record-breaking third World Cup title. They'd already lifted the trophy back in '91 and again on their home turf in '99. This was supposed to be their coronation. And their path to the final just shows you how dominant they were. Okay, yeah, they had a little hiccup against Sweden, but then they showed their champions mentality, surviving this massive scare against Brazil in a nail-biting penalty shootout before just comfortably handling France in the semis. Japan's path to the final, and especially their history against the US, well, that told a completely different story. A whole different universe, really. I mean, just look at the contrast between these two teams. It is stark. The US is #1, Japan #4. The US are 2-time champs. This was Japan's first ever final. But here's the real kicker. In 25 previous matches, Japan had never, not once, beaten the United States. And yet, somehow, their journey to this final was nothing short of remarkable. They pulled off one of the biggest shocks of the tournament in the quarterfinals by beating Germany, the hosts and the 2-time defending champs, on their own soil. Then they convincingly beat a really strong Swedish side to reach a final that, let's be honest, pretty much nobody on the planet predicted they could. So the stage was set. The ultimate underdog versus the powerhouse. The final, held on July 17th, 2011, in Frankfurt, Germany, well, it became one of the most dramatic and unforgettable matches in the history of the World Cup, period. The game itself was just a relentless back-and-forth battle. The U.S. took the lead twice, first through a young Alex Morgan, then again in extra time with a classic header from their superstar Abby Wambach. Each time it looked like the American powerhouse was finally going to seal the deal, and each time, against all odds, Japan fought back. And then came the moment. It's the 117th minute, just 3 minutes left to play. Homare Sawa, the tournament's best player, scores this incredible, instinctive, almost impossible goal off a corner to tie the match 2-2 and send it to a penalty shootout. Just unbelievable drama. So, heading into the shootout, all logic still pointed to an American victory. They had dominated so much of the game, taking 27 shots to Japan's 14. But then, something incredible happened. The U.S. missed their first 3 penalty kicks. Defender Saki Kumagai stepped up and calmly scored the decisive penalty. Just like that, Japan had won the shootout 3-1. They had won the World Cup. It was one of the biggest and most inspiring upsets in the history of sports. But this victory, this moment, it resonated so far beyond the world of sports. Its impact was felt most deeply back home in Japan, a country that was just so desperate for something, anything, to celebrate. The outcome was so unbelievable, so cathartic, that it sparked these widespread celebrations across a nation that had endured so much hardship. And it was a huge moment for football history, too. This was the first time any Asian team, men's or women's, had ever won a senior FIFA World Cup. And this quote from a fan, I think it just sums it all up perfectly. The win was called the first piece of good news the country had received in months. It was so much more than a trophy. It was this powerful symbol of hope and determination against absolutely everything. So for Japan in 2011, this improbable, unforgettable fairy tale victory did just that. It didn't erase the tragedy, of course not, but it showed the world, and more importantly, it showed themselves what was still possible.